Welcome to Speak For Yourself. I'm LeVar Arrington here with my guys, Rick Bucher and Greg Jennings. Marcellus and Emmanuel are off today, but we're going to keep it moving. Starting in San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan said, well, it's going to be a very, very hard thing for their first-round draft pick, Trey Lance, to beat out Jimmy Garoppolo. But Lance's former North Dakota State head coach thinks differently, saying, quote, "It would not surprise me to see Trey push and challenge for the playing time." So, Greg, let's start with you. Jimmy G, should he be worried about his job?
No, Jimmy Garoppolo should not be worried about his job. Look, he understands where his future lies, and it is not with the San Francisco 49ers. It is with one of the other 31 teams. And so with knowing that, he can solely focus on just his performance. Now, yes, they drafted Trey Lance first round, number 3 pick overall. But when you look at why they drafted Trey Lance, they drafted Trey Lance in hopes that Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy for this year, play lights out, give them an opportunity to achieve the desired outcome, which is a championship, and then allow Trey Lance to take over the year following. And so when I look at that, if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I know the landscape that's in front of me. There is no question. You know the quarterback that they just drafted is coming to replace you eventually. And so with knowing that, he has a clear mind and the understanding of how to approach his job. I'm going to go and be the best version of myself that I possibly can, provide my team with great success, and in return, I then benefit because other teams are going to see the value in what I bring to the table. So I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be concerned with his job. He has the job right now, and he's playing for his future.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, I love the philosophical spin that you put on this.
It was philosophical.
Don't worry.
It was
Be
good.
happy.
Mm-hmm.
What? Because you've already lost the job. So why don't you just embrace the fact that the job is soon not to be yours? But the reality is, yes, he should be worried about his job because they've been looking for an upgrade or a replacement for 2 years now. They went after Tom Brady 2 years ago. They were hoping to get Aaron Rodgers. And then they spent a boatload of picks and assets in order to move up to take a quarterback in the top 3. So do I think that they're on the Patrick Mahomes plan where they're going to keep Trey Lance on the sideline and let Garoppolo go? No, I don't. They are in win mode right now. And so do I think Trey Lance is going to be the starter going into training camp? No, I do not. Do I think he's going to be the starter going into the season? No, probably not. But after week 1, if they don't beat the Arizona Cardinals, get the dude in the bullpen warming up because that's the direction they're going to go. They spent way too much on Trey Lance, and they've been looking way too long and hard in order to believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the quarterback for the 49ers this entire season.
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo has got a little bit of penny invested in him as well. I don't think he's worried or concerned about his job. Now, will Trey Lance end up getting the job, taking the job? That remains to be seen. That'll play out on the field. But if we're asking the question, is Jimmy Garoppolo worried or concerned about his job? The answer is no. Jimmy Garoppolo is very, very well versed in being disrespected. Jimmy Garoppolo has been told he's not a starting quarterback. But he played as a starting quarterback in the National Football League Super Bowl. Some would say he missed throws that maybe was the reason why they lost. I would say you trusted the defense all year and you trusted them in the Super Bowl and you let them off the hook, making Kansas City the new sweetheart in the National Football League instead of winning a Super Bowl. That's all Jimmy Garoppolo has done is win and have played ball. So this new addition of disrespect, a number 3 overall draft pick, you moved up to get him, to bring him in. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't feel fear for his job. Jimmy Garoppolo is riding Jimmy Garoppolo's wave, meaning that for as much as people want to put him down, say he's not the answer, somebody else is better, something else can replace what Jimmy Garoppolo has represented, all the while you're talking about Jimmy G. So he's significant enough, he's been adequate enough to be in these conversations, and now adding a number 3 overall pick. All the pressure really is on Trey Lance. All the pressure is really on John Lynch. Oh, absolutely so. It is on Trey Lance, and it is on the GM of this team for making the decision. All Jimmy Garoppolo has to do is play ball, guys.
Well, I agree. I agree that all Jimmy Garoppolo has to do is play ball. I do not agree with the pressure being on Trey Lance.
Okay.
He has no pressure. He's coming into a situation where he's not going to be asked to play
what
right
number
away.
pick were you, Greg?
He's a number.
What number pick
52.
were you in the draft?
I was the 52nd pick.
What number pick were you, Rick? Right. So when you look at, like, before we even go too far,
whatever that was,
before we even go too far with that, when you're drafted in the top 10 of a draft, there's pressure on you. This adds pressure. But go ahead. I'm just making sure, because I went number 2, by the way, and I felt that pressure the moment they called my name as to what I was going to bring to the table. And this is a quarterback we're talking about at a winning team, a team that they're expecting to win because of either Garoppolo or the addition of Trey Lance. That's pressure. So, but go ahead.
I completely understand that. But when you look at, let's go back to the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Look at their first-round pick of last season. Do you think Jordan Love got into that locker room and within that organization said, "Oh my gosh, the pressure is on"?
No, that's not the same.
So you're negating the fact that I was 52nd, you're second, and Rick was whatever number he is. But it doesn't matter.
No, the pressure was not on Jordan Love because Aaron Rodgers was going to be the undisputed leader and starter of that team. That's not the situation here. That's not the situation.
That is the situation here.
No, because there's not a trust. There's not a trust for Garoppolo.
Is saying that my guy Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starter this year. He does not see Trey Lance beating him out. Now, if something miraculously happens, I believe they're going to make the better decision when that plays itself out. But right now, going in, it's completely clear Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy, and you want him to be the guy, so you're not completely throwing Trey Lance in to the Wolves as a young rookie quarterback that has no experience in this league. You want him to sit, to observe, to learn, to understand, and get the most that he possibly can by watching, by learning, by seeing how it's done, how the plays are called, all these various things. You want him to gain information and then hold on to that and use it later, not right now. When we get too caught up into this world of just because we drafted a quarterback high, he needs to play right now. Yeah, I get it. General managers and head coaches' timetable has been severed to like 1-2 years. You better show me something. That's not the case when you look at the San Francisco 49ers.
I wasn't trying to diminish your draft pick
that far.
By the way,
I thought I might have to do this, so I came prepared with ammo. I thought I might need to convince you guys that Trey Lance is going to get this job sooner rather than later. Here are the guys in the last 5 years, teams that traded a boatload of picks in order to move up into the top 3 to take a quarterback. And in every instance, that guy ended up playing as a rookie, no matter who was in front of him. So ultimately, I see Trey Lance playing at some point this season. Never mind Jimmy Garoppolo's injury history and the fact that he hasn't been able to get through. And LeVar, you're saying that Jimmy has done nothing but win. Yes. If I'm not mistaken, he was 3-3 last year. Yeah, he won. He won 3 times. He lost 3 times, too. So this idea that Jimmy Garoppolo is some juggernaut that they are convinced that they can win with, the record does not speak to that. Overall, I'd agree with you. Based on the body of work, Jimmy G has been disrespected. But the reality is the 49ers Boo Birds were out last year. Kyle Shanahan obviously has lost confidence in Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're looking for the next thing, whether it be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or Trey Lance. So Maybe look, Greg, I love your philosophy. Don't worry about it because it's already over, brah. Just live with the reality. I love that.
You know, I got a little bit of ammunition. I have a little bit of ammunition. And listen, I don't want to diminish y'all's draft pick, all right? Because to get drafted is a blessing and it's an amazing thing. I was just saying, at your pick, Greg, it's less pressure than at the third pick is all I wanted to say there. Just
Agreed.
Respect. All right, I wanted to make sure I clear that up because you're a dope dude and you're a dope player.
But LeVar,
so I wanted to do that. Not you so much, Rick. No, you stop,
too?
Rick. Not you so much. Not you. Not you, Rick. Nah, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. But listen, Rick, you said that my guy Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't a winner, and that's why I had to come back at you and tell you, not you, Rick. Fourth best winning percentage of any quarterback since 2016. Fourth best. You know who's in front of him? Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Lamar Jackson. That's pretty elite company for an amount of time from 2016. I would say that's pretty good. I mean, that's winning. Secondly, I would say this, is that we have this misconception of placing Jimmy Garoppolo in the injured house and making him live in a room that says he's defined and not great because of injuries. But I want to go to a full screen real quickly because I too came with a little bit of ammunition here. And it's interesting to me when you look at the no pain, no gain list of quarterbacks during the course of their careers. Joe Montana, one of the greatest ever, in my opinion, second only to Tom Brady at this point, missed 31 games. Aaron Rodgers, collarbone? Wow, 16 games over a duration of time. And Peyton Manning, if we recall, we thought Peyton Manning's career was over due to the injury that he sustained. He ends up leaving, going to a different team, and we know what happened next, right? He goes and he wins and wins the Super Bowl. So to me, when I look at these numbers, Jimmy Garoppolo has 23. So that's second on the list to Joe Montana. But there's no reason to define him by the injuries that he's sustained, because if you look at these names, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, you know what Jimmy Garoppolo has done that all of those guys have done? Played in the Super Bowl. Thank you. And so to me, there is no reason to worry about your job. You just play. You're playing with house money. That's all right. He didn't win it. He played in it, though.
Wait, Rick, before you go, Rick. So I got something for both of you guys because LeVar, I was with you.
Okay.
Until you threw up that full screen of all these quarterbacks. And I want the viewers to take this in.
Okay.
Forget the missed games. Forget the injury. Okay. Look at the quarterback names. What do they all have in common, or what will they all soon have in common? Gold jackets.
Yeah, Hall of Fame.
Look. We're not even considering Jimmy Garoppolo as a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Why
so
not?
we can erase this.
So you're going to take his dream away? You're going to take Jimmy Garoppolo's dream away?
At the stage in his career and what he's produced or not produced, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's not on that projectile.
You're just going to take that man's Hall of Fame dream away.
For right now, it's not in his future.
You're probably right.
And so, Rick, when you talk about your full screen, and you showed all those quarterbacks being replaced by the draft picks, the number one draft picks or the first round draft picks. None of these teams that are on here were coming off Super Bowl appearances or fresh Super Bowl appearances. This is a San Francisco 49ers team that the only reason why we didn't talk about them last year is because of their injuries. Had they been healthy, this team is a contender. So all these teams that we're talking about, no contention. They're no contention. So when you look at Trey Lance, yes, is he a quarterback that you can look and turn the keys over to eventually? Yes, at what point we don't know. But right now, we know we have a Super Bowl contending team that can compete with the quarterback we have under center right now.
Greg, battle rapping out here.
Greg, that only underscores my point. If they were so confident that what they accomplished last year and with Jimmy Garoppolo was good enough to get them there, why would they spend a boatload of picks in order to move up to the number 3 spot? Why would they be talking to Green Bay to see if they could get an Aaron Rodgers? You guys are arguing about whether Jimmy G deserves to be treated the way that he's being treated. We're already past that. Like, he's They've already decided we're trying to move on some way, somehow. And LeVar, I'm sorry, but you want to take 2016 to now and tell me Jimmy G is a winner? It's what have you done for me lately? And he was a 500 QB last year, 3-3. So don't tell me about what he did 4 or 5 years ago. Ultimately, it's about what he's capable of doing right now. Look, the writing is ultimately on the wall. When did we become the feel-good show? Like, don't rain on Jimmy G's parade.
Everybody's
he could still make the Hall of Fame. He could still get a yellow jacket. Well, come on.
Everybody rains on Jimmy G. Jimmy G is a good-looking dude. He goes out to eat and isn't afraid of being seen in the public with the people that he hangs with, and they're probably worthy of going out to eat with him and having tea and all that good stuff and pastries. And he throws touchdown passes, and he's led them to a Super Bowl appearance. And all we do is sit here and ask, is Jimmy G worried about his job? No, he's not worried about his job. But I'll tell you what, somebody who should be worried, guys. Speaking of rookie QBs, we're going to talk to you about Zach Wilson. Can he handle the pressure of New York? Next on Speak for Yourself. Zach Wilson, he was the 2nd overall pick, so he already has pressure. But now it can be on another level in New York. With the Jets, Wilson was only sacked 11 times last season at BYU. While former Jets QB Sam Darnold was sacked 30-plus times each of the last 3 years. That's a lot of sacks. So, Greg, are you worried about Zach Wilson handling the pressure, proverbially, literally, figuratively, of the New York market, of the New York team?
I'm not, man. I like this kid a lot. I like his moxie. I like his personality. I like the way he approaches his abilities. And when you're in New York, and when you're in that market, you better be confident in everything that you have within yourself. And that's Zach Wilson. Look, we know what he can do on the football field, but when you talk about his leadership skills and what he provides, you got to have some type of confidence about who you are and what you are supposed to be doing. And he believes with everything in him that he's the guy that's going to turn this franchise around. We heard him, and we all you were a 2nd-round draft pick, so you were probably at the draft, and you got all the red carpet poured out in front of you and all of that. You experienced all that. I never got to experience all that. But when you do those first interviews, you tend to listen to what rookies say because they tend to say things that they have no control over. And you heard that out of Zach Wilson. He's like, Super Bowl coming to New York. It's like, whoa, wait. But he truly believes that he's going to be a huge part of why this franchise turns around, along with Robert Saleh and his team that he's assembled. And so this is why I like that. I like Zach Wilson, and I like his situation. I like his mentality. I like his approach. And more than even that, when you think about the pieces that they're putting around this young man, they are supporting him. It's not just about this guy has talent, let's let him bring us to glory again. No, we're going to support him in every way we possibly can so that he can provide us with what we know we've seen on tape and what we know we're hoping to get in return as in the investment.
Greg, Casper, the friendly ghost, and his crew showed up on the sideline and was haunting Sam Darnold. He better hope, speaking of Zach, he better hope that Sam took those ghosts with him because they're going to be on that sideline again this season. And you think about this, it sounds good. It's a great story. Zach Wilson, the 13-year-old looking quarterback that gets drafted to the biggest market in all of the country and is going to be the quarterback and possibly starting for this team. Here's the problem. The problem you run into is this is a very unforgiving division that you're in. I mean, if you think about it, the Dolphins are loaded and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They look to be a team that will contend for the division. Then you got the Bills, who are looking to take a chokehold on the division and are a possible Super Bowl contender at this point with their play. And then there's that wild card team that we would never sit to think and say them third. You always lead off with the New England Patriots, but they could be a bounce-back team. They weren't the greatest of teams last year, but they certainly weren't the worst. And you know what? Let's take a look at what Bill Belichick is overall against rookie starting quarterbacks as a head coach of the Patriots. 20-6. 20-6. I don't see Zach Wilson coming in and being the catalyst of change this season for this New York Jets team. In fact, I don't even know that he finishes anywhere but last place as the starting quarterback for this New York Jets team. So with that being said, in the place where they have tabloids, and if you made it onto the back page of the paper, you've made it, but you ain't make it. This is something that Zach Wilson has never experienced. BYU is a long, long way from where he is at in the New York City market. So I don't think it's the greatest situation for any quarterback to go into. Not a rookie, not a vet, nobody. It looks as though it can improve. They've done some good hires. They've done some good additions. But if I'm Zach Wilson, I'd be scared to death going to play for this team right now, the state that it's currently in.
LeVar, forget about quarterbacks. Any star athlete going into New York faces a challenge with those franchises and their recent history. So, yes, I'm not worried. I'm resigned to the fact. I'm taking Greg Jennings' approach to things. Why worry? Be happy, because we know where this is going to go. Can I get a full screen on the quarterbacks that we've seen have donned a New York Jets uniform that is supposed to be the next coming? Sheesh. Look at that group. Now, just take a gander at that list and what the results were, and tell me why I should think or believe that Zach Wilson somehow is going to be different, that this is going to be a different result. They cannibalize quarterbacks in New York. To your point, LeVar, in Provo, they got one newspaper. It doesn't even have a Sunday edition. They got rid of it a year ago. So the day after they play, there's no account in the newspaper of what happened on Saturday. How many TV stations do they have? I counted 3. You know how many are in New York City when it comes to the media?
Tell them, Rick.
TV networks.
How many?
Newspapers. Oh, it's an onslaught. 100. So the combination of the pressure, the media pressure, and the pressure to be the savior of the New York Jets, yeah, Zach Wilson is walking into a bandsaw here, and the results have not been good in the past. There's no reason for me to believe it's going to be significantly different this time around.
See, I love how we do this. We do this all the time when we see situations that we're not a part of, but somebody else is going to be a part of. It's like, and they've been horrific. It's, oh, no, there's no way that they're going to turn that situation around. But if LeVar was going there, if Rick Bucher was going there, you would have a belief within you that you would be the missing piece, that you, despite recent history, that the time clock on your wrist, it continues to tick. That means eventually it would be a new day. That is Zach Wilson. He's believing that he's a part of that new day, that new regime. Robert Saleh believes the same thing. And I believe that the way that they've supported him with the current draft picks, the guard in the first round, the receiver in the second, like they are doing their due diligence to make sure that this young quarterback is supported immediately, and that he not only feels the support that from the personnel that we put on the field, but from the personnel that we already have at the coaching ranks. So I get it. He's going into a thick situation. But just like anyone else, he believes that I can, if you give me time, you allow my abilities to be what they've always been, I will be the reason we have change here in New York. Jets, Jets.
Greg, I love your faith in Zach Wilson's faith in himself. But the one thing we know is that the speed of the game between the college game and the NFL game is, I don't even know how to measure it, but it's way faster. And that's particularly true for quarterbacks. Their ability to see things and process them quickly is maybe the biggest deciding factor in whether they make it or not. And at BYU, he had look at this. All the time in the world, ultimately, to get things done. I don't know where these highlights are coming from. We never saw him getting sacked in BYU. What's up with this?
Well, get ready.
The reality is he's not going to have any of this time with the Jets. They were last in pass blocking, according to Pro Football Focus. BYU, his left tackle was drafted in the 3rd round, Brady Christensen. He's not going to have nearly the same time he had at BYU. And ultimately, the game is going to be faster anyway. So I appreciate that all that. And I appreciate your confidence in Robert Saleh. But is Robert Saleh going to do something different than Herm Edwards or Rex Ryan or Todd Bowles or Eric Mangini? What do they all have in common? They were all defensive coaches. And how did it turn out for their quarterbacks? I love Robert Saleh. I think he could be a great head coach. But if you're asking me, is he the key to Zach Wilson turning the quarterback misfortunes in New York? Come on, man. I can't buy that one.
You don't have to worry about the support from your coaching staff and the organization. Zach Wilson has to worry about what the headlines are going to read. Headline reads, Olsen twins open up about stories from Full House. Macaulay Culkin tells stories about how he used to dance in Never Never Land. Whoa. And Zach Wilson has a tough week, a tough outing against the New England Patriots. That's what he's going to be seeing in New York City, people. And he better be ready for it because they ain't winning no time soon. Coming up, from a rookie to a veteran, we'll tell you where Aaron Rodgers should want to play next season. That's up next on Speak for Yourself. Sunday on FS1, the stars of NASCAR go old school with the throwback race from Darlington. Catch some of the most iconic rides as they hit the track for the Goodyear 400. It all starts Sunday at 3:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. What smooth music that was. What a great bid. The latest news out of Green Bay says Aaron Rodgers mocked the GM in group text with teammates, calling him former Bulls GM Jerry Krause. Krause was seen as a foe to Michael Jordan in the 90s. His former teammate, Brett Favre, said today he's not optimistic that Rodgers will stay in Green Bay, adding, quote, "My gut tells me that he'd rather sit out than play." Woo! We gotta have at least one Acho on the show today. So we couldn't get Emmanuel in here, so we got Sam on the stage. Where does Aaron Rodgers go? Where should he go next season?
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, the only place I go is back home to Green Bay. And let me tell you why. So, number one, you have the best offensive lineman, offensive tackle in the game in David Bakhtiari. You don't want to leave him. He's really important to your team. Number two, you have a really solid running back in Aaron Jones. You don't want to leave him. He's really important to your team. But then I think what's most important to Aaron Rodgers' decision is his, I'll call him a tweet buddy now because he's tweeting on his behalf, Devontae Adams. They have a relationship. They have a sixth sense. They've been working together for year after year after year. You have Pro Bowlers on your team. You don't want to leave these guys for what may be considered greener pastures. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm staying in Green Bay. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care how mad I feel. I got to stay in Green Bay.
What you got, Rick?
You know, it must be part of the Acho family credo that we make arguments that are well said, logical, and yet somehow are still detached from reality.
Oh, wow.
Aaron Rodgers going back to Green Bay after all that has been said and done, and after all of the years in which they haven't given him, yes, they might give him a great left tackle, but have they given him the receivers? Have they given him the running game? Have they given him the defense consistently in order to win? There's only one place at this stage of Aaron Rodgers' career that makes sense. One and only one, and whatever is second is distant, and it's not Green Bay. Number one is going back home. When you said going back home, I was like, yes, he's on it. It's the 49ers. That's what's going back home for Aaron Rodgers. The star from Cal, the guy who was miffed that they didn't take him at the beginning of his career. He now gets to go home, and he's equipped with a team that has everything that Green Bay has not been able to give him. He closes the circle. He wins a Super Bowl at home. Both sides make amends for the mistake made some 16, 17 years ago, and everybody goes home happy. That is the ideal place. If we're talking about where Aaron Rodgers should want to play, can you imagine playing in Santa Clara? That balmy weather in Santa Clara after what he's been able to do on the frozen tundra? I can't think of a better place to ease into retirement than with the 49ers.
Sam, I got you. Don't worry about this, all right? Listen, Rick.
Rick is tripping.
I don't think Sam needs any help.
Your statement was way further removed from reality than what you accused Sam's of being. I actually think Sam's is, I think that there's something there
You
to
told
it.
to say 100% accurate. Feel free to say 100% accurate. I'm cool with that. I'm ready for that.
I can say it's not a bad thought to go back to where you're comfortable being and trying to work it out. That's called being married to some people.
He's
I don't know.
being in Green Bay?
There's a lot of times you're going to ask your spouse, can you guys work it out and go forward?
Hey,
things
Lamar,
get a little interesting.
Slick Rick must have not watched the draft. And Rick, I love you. I've been on the show a couple times. My brother and I, he'll share a couple clips of you talking and doing the thing. Trey Lance plays for San Francisco.
Yes, he does.
Jimmy Graham plays.
Garoppolo, yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo plays for San Francisco.
He does.
They might just get Jimmy Graham, too. You talk about weather. You're talking about somebody needs to go to get some good weather. Send Jimmy Graham there. So check me out, Slick Rick. It sounds great. I want to go to warm weather. I want to be out in San Fran. It's not realistic. It doesn't make any sense. They've got two quarterbacks who are top-level quarterbacks. Why would they go and get Aaron Rodgers when you just drafted number 3 overall, the quarterback for your future? And you have the quarterback for right now.
Can I answer that? LeVar, can I answer that?
Please do. Go ahead. Y'all go right ahead.
Right, so you're going to have to trade for Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
So you're probably going to give something up in order to get Aaron Rodgers. And Jimmy Garoppolo, you can cut right now and save $22 million, the way his contract is structured. So technically, they can make it work. And I would assume, whether it's Garoppolo or it's Trey Lance, something is going to have to go back the other way in order to get Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think it's as unrealistic or that they're unable to do this thing simply because of the quarterbacks that they have right now.
It is.
The difference between plays for the 49ers and played for the 49ers is just a matter of time. And once we get to June 1st, then it makes sense for the Green Bay Packers, too, because of all the cap relief that they could potentially
All right, Rick, let me help you out here with Sam. I'm going to help you out here, all right? I got you, Rick. I got this.
Help him out, man. Help him out.
Now, Sam, here's why I have to disagree with you on him going back to Green Bay, even though I'm close to having Green Bay colors on today. I mean, I'll take that. But here's why. What quarterback is going to put Aaron Rodgers currently where he's at in that NFC North conference in the conversation of being the best quarterback in the game, the greatest in the game? Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it Jared Goff? Is it going to be Justin Fields? You're going to have to match up against Justin Fields 2 times a year. Not one of those quarterbacks, not yet at least for Justin Fields, because I'm high on him. But not one of those quarterbacks just yet says to me, screams out, put Aaron Rodgers in the greatest of all time conversation. He was able to get that MVP last year, but we still said Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the game. He's going to Denver. Why is he going to Denver? The reason he's going to Denver, he's got 3 young receivers, really nice receivers. They added a guard in the draft, a nice strong guard from out of Wisconsin. He works out on trees, wrestles bears, lions, and tigers on his spare time.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he does. And listen, They shored up their defense. They took the option on Von Miller. They got Pat Surtain the second in the draft. They loaded up at a lot of different positions on the defensive side of the ball. They are preparing. They're not only trying to get better in terms of a team as Denver, they are preparing the plate and the table for Aaron Rodgers to show up and say, hey, Aaron, you do know that we play against Patrick Mahomes twice a year. Oh, by the way, they got Herbert and the Chargers in L.A. You get to play against him twice a year. And, oh, by the way, you know, Carr, I mean, we ain't going to put him in the same conversation, but he's ranked the top 10 quarterback by Pro Football Focus. So you get a top 10 quarterback with Carr, and you get to play against the number one guy that's on the totem pole of best quarterbacks. That puts Aaron Rodgers in the GOAT conversation, and that, my friend, is why he will not return to Green Bay. Go ahead. Move your chess pieces.
LeVar, let me go and let me just break it down for you, because you were playing checkers. I'm going to play chess a little bit.
This is chess right now.
I'm going to play a little bit of chess. I'm a grandmaster over here.
Take your queen real quick.
I'm a grandmaster. So check this out. Aaron Rodgers is upset at the situation. He doesn't have control in Green Bay. That's why he wants to get out. He wants more control. I want to keep my players. I want to get draft first round receivers. That's what I want. I want control. You say go to Denver. It sounds great. Mind you, I played for Vic Fangio, the head coach of Denver, for 4 years in Chicago. Vic's not the guy who's going to give you any control. Vic is actually probably going to be worse for you in Denver than what you ever had in Green Bay. And so going to Denver isn't the answer, number one. And that was piece number one.
That was a checker move. That was a checker move.
That's enough.
Let me put you in checkmate. Let me put you in checkmate. What will Denver give up to let Green Bay say yes?
Whatever they need.
Whatever
they need to do.
Pat Surtain, right? You say Pat Surtain.
They won't give up Pat
Can't give up Pat. And you know what? Green Bay doesn't need Pat Surtain. They have Jair Alexander, phenomenal corner. They drafted a first-round corner, so you're not going to give up Pat Surtain. Okay, let's say Bradley Chubb. Let's go get Bradley Chubb or Von Miller. Oh, wait. Already got the Smith brothers, and they're dominant.
Right.
They're dominant. So what exactly would Denver give up in this philosophical world that Slick Rick and you were living in? What would Denver give up to make this dream scenario a reality?
That's
nothing.
Such a slip.
And that is why we see Aaron Rodgers is going to stay. Even though he's not going to be happy, he's going to stay in Green Bay.
I'm going to take a queen. I'm going to take one of your rooks on this one.
I got bishops too now. Slow down. I got some bishops that...
bishops can be dangerous, but they're limited in their focus and their scope of work on the table. Here's what you got to understand. In trying to figure out what Denver needs to do, all of the pressure and the onus is on Green Bay. Green Bay has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's guilt. All right. So in the end, the burden is on Green Bay. And why? Because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there. So whatever it is you can get out of Denver, what are you willing to give us, Denver? Give us some draft picks. Give us a couple players. We'll call it a day. You know why? Because, oh, yeah, we do have a number one draft pick sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. All right. So we can't overvalue it to the point of where we can't unload Aaron Rodgers. You could ask that same exact question, Sam, for every single team that would possibly want to trade for him based off of the value that Aaron Rodgers is bringing to the table. I don't realistically look at it as I'm going to ask, if I'm Green Bay, for something that you cannot acquire or you can't figure out a way to get it done. That's why it has to be a doable trade. The onus of getting this done is on Green Bay.
Right?
What's
that one?
Say again?
Like the one the 49ers could do, like that one?
Oh, please.
Right?
Okay, Slick Rick.
Oh, please. Is that what we're really going with here? Is that what we're going with here? The humanity coming
up next.
The best offer
for Aaron Rodgers? I think we might go with that. I think that might be a good idea. A place that Rodgers would want to go, and they could make a deal for him. That sounds good to me.
They just got a new QB. We'll tell you if Justin Fields, as I mentioned, or Andy Dalton gives the Bears the best chance to win next on Speak for Yourself.
Matt Nagy has a similar situation in Chicago with Justin Fields and Andy Dalton that he did back in 2017 with the Chiefs. Nagy was the OC when Alex Smith was the starter and Patrick Mahomes was the rookie on the bench. Now, Nagy said, we have some type of blueprint to work off of. So I'm going to go to the former Bear first. Sam, which quarterback gives the Bears the best chance at winning right now? Fields or Dalton?
Well, the answer is simple, and there can only be one answer in this scenario. The answer is both. And here's what I mean by that. If you're a first-round pick quarterback, you're 11 overall, you know you're going to play. You can't sit on the bench. You know you're going to play. But if the Bears want to be successful, play there for 4 years, still live in the city of Chicago. I love that city. Shout out to my Bears fans. If the Bears want to be successful, you need to give Andy Dalton his time to teach Justin Fields the offense. You got to give Matt Nagy his time to teach Justin Fields the offense. And you have to little by little, let Justin Fields get out there and play. Don't throw him out in week 1. Don't throw him out in week 2, not even in week 3. But by week 6 and week 7, you have to get Justin Fields on the field. But it can't be early. He has to learn how to be a pro. Yes, Ohio State, he was great. He also has some great receivers, right? He has to learn how to be a pro. And so it's got to be both. Start with Andy Dalton, give him a couple weeks, and then Justin Fields will be ready to finish the thing off.
Go ahead, Rick.
I like the approach here. The answer is, and I'm going to give you an answer, and it's not both. The answer is Justin Fields. But I agree in this regard. The mistake would also be Justin Fields, because you can't look at wins and losses as being the only definition of whether you are winning this season. I hate this narrative that I'm hearing from everywhere that Matt Nagy has to save his job. And if he wants to save his job, he has to play Justin Fields right now. That's why losing franchises continue to lose, because they go on a season-by-season basis. The reality is that the Bears are not ready to win at the level. I mean, they're not even as good as the Kansas City Chiefs when they sat Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know that we're looking at Justin Fields and saying he's as good as Patrick Mahomes. So, look, as a long-suffering Bengals fan, I know Andy Dalton. I know that Andy Dalton at some point is going to disappoint. That's just the reality. But I have no problem with Andy Dalton being the cannon fodder for this Chicago Bears team right now and allowing Justin Fields to come along a little more slowly in order for him to be a success down the road. So ultimately play Andy Dalton and save Justin Fields for when you have a team that is worthy of taking advantage of all that Justin Fields can do.
I'm going to split Sam's both in half and get rid of Andy Dalton. I'm going to address your long-suffering fan of Cincy. If you're a long-suffering fan of Cincy, then you saw the football ghost of Andy Dalton leave his body at some point in time. Do you realize that the last season that he was there, he won 2 games? He went 2-11 his last year in Cincy before he was happy as hell that Dallas was like, thank you for throwing me this life preserver, this life donut. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to win 4 games out of 9 for you guys as the starter in Dallas. Like, whoa, 4-5, 2-11. You want to do that math? That rounds out to 6-16. Whoa, and you're thinking that he's going to go to Chicago and some way, somehow, he's going to resurrect what it is that he's got going on? I'll give you a different example here just for this first lap around. When we saw Mike Tyson, before he went overseas and fought Buster Douglas in that fight, we thought that Mike Tyson was indestructible, unbeatable. You could not deal with Iron Mike, the scariest man on the planet. And then we watched him get beat up and lose to Buster Douglas, knocked out, not just lost the fight, but knocked out. Was he ever the same? Did he ever give it back? Did he ever get that intimidation factor back? Find the success? No. You know why? Because once book is out on you that, oh, all I got to do is absorb this from you and do that and fade and come back and jab and frustrate you. That's what's happened to Andy Dalton. He's been figured out. He's not going to have success the rest of the way. So for that reason and for that reason alone, you do not have the time to just play Andy Dalton and give Justin Fields time to learn the offense and figure it out. No. You brought
Why
in
not?
Justin Fields because you know that Justin Fields is a ready-made type quarterback. He is, in fact, the Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson of this draft. He will be the one quarterback that we all look at after they play a season and be like, man, they got it right with Trevor Lawrence. But my gosh, did you see the way Justin Fields played this season? That's what Justin Fields represents. I would not be surprised if Justin Fields wins the job in training camp before they play one singular game of the season as the Chicago Bears, Sam.
LeVar, let me, and I hear what you're saying, but check this out.
Okay, hear me.
I'm a long-suffering Bears fan, and I'm also a long-suffering Bear in so many ways. I've been on teams we were 5-11, 6-10. I've been in that city where we've struggled time and time again out in the first round of the playoffs. That night when Justin Fields' name got called for the Bears, the entire city was hyped. The entire city was excited. The entire city had hope. Again, I had hope again.
Is it past tense?
We had hope.
You still have it?
No, we had it. We
Okay.
had it. Hope. We had hope. We still have it. We're going to have it. It's past, it's present, it's future.
Okay.
We have it all.
Okay.
But the danger,
There's always
you
a
got to go
danger.
from fan to player to GM. As a fan, you throw him out there. Let's see what he does. Yeah, slow down. As a player, you have to get ready. You want to be prepared. You need to just watch a little bit and learn for a little bit. As a GM, you're thinking, okay, long term. I know we talked earlier about Matt Nagy and the narrative that him and Pace aren't fighting for their jobs. I live in Chicago. They're fighting for their jobs. They had to draft Justin Fields to keep their jobs. They knew what was on the line. And so, yes, now they have another year or two of runway because they have a rookie quarterback, but you can't start him right away because you're setting him up for failure.
I don't know. I don't think anybody's saying that about Trevor Lawrence. I think everybody's excited about seeing Trevor Lawrence get into the office and do what he needs to do, Sam.
The bar is low. In Jacksonville, the bar is low. In Chicago, unlike Jacksonville, the bar is a lot higher. The fans in Chicago, the city of Chicago, they're going after one thing.
Duval and
Tell him, Sam.
Jacksonville.
Tell him, Sam.
They're going after another Lombardi. This ain't Jacksonville. This ain't Cincinnati. This is Chicago. Chicago wants another. They want that 85 team. I'm just telling you, man. I've been there. I live there. That's all I know. I hear the word on the
Emmanuel
street.
ain't got nothing on you, Sam. Keep going.
Well, here's the problem before we go to break is that 85 was a long time ago. So, Chicago fans, take your cheeks off your shoulders and put it at the bottom of your back where it belongs because, honestly, y'all ain't winning nothing no time soon either. But that's just me. Justin Fields will be playing, and if they do win, it will be at the hands of Justin Fields delivering those passes. Speaking of winning and winning big and being a king, LeBron, yeah, he's out again. We're going to tell you if Father Time has caught up to the king next on Speak for Yourself. LeBron James, he re-aggravated his ankle injury on Sunday. Now reports say he's expected to miss Thursday and Friday's back-to-backs. And he is also having trouble making hard cuts and exploding since his return. So Chris Broussard is joining us now. And Chris, we need to know, has Father Time caught up to the king?
Well, the language you used is critical. Caught up, that's too ambitious. No, he is not caught up to LeBron James, but he is certainly gaining on him. There's no doubt about it. He's gaining on him. He's right on LeBron's tail. We know LeBron's 36 years old in his 18th season. And I believe 6 or 7 years ago, LeBron would have been through this injury and playing, and this thing would not be lingering. But as you guys know this, as you get older, it becomes harder to recover from injuries. And that is what we're seeing with LeBron James. We're talking about a guy who's been an Iron Man, one of the best Iron Men we've seen in league history. And now 2 of the last 3 years, he's had serious injuries that kept him out for 24 games or so in each season. And then the 1 year he was able to play through it, he got a 4-month hiatus because of the pandemic. So there's no doubt in my mind that LeBron is having trouble returning from these injuries, whereas he would not have had as much trouble coming back from them years ago. He's still playing great ball when he's on the floor. We know he was a leading MVP candidate. He was 25-8-8 before he got injured. So that's not an issue so much, but his ability to recover is the thing. Look, he is in his, as I said, his 18th year, and he's 19th all time in regular season games played. He's first all-time in playoff games played. He's played on 3 Olympic teams. That is a lot of wear and tear on a body, and it's starting to get to LeBron, although it hadn't caught him completely.
Well,
Chris, are absolutely correct. The phrasing is very important. Has Father Time caught up with LeBron? Yes, caught up 2 years ago to LeBron, and now he's trying to tackle him. Because if you look at, and you mentioned everything that I'm going to point to, 2018 and 19 was the first time that we saw him suffer a serious injury that forced him to end a season. Now, whether you think he did that out of convenience or whatever, the fact of the matter is, it's the first time that he ever did it. And I know that my analytical friends are going to look at the overall numbers and say, well, they really haven't dipped. In some cases, they've been the same. I think Nick Wright probably has quoted those numbers. But it doesn't look at all of the numbers. And if you look at 2 years ago, value over replacement, and a couple of the other deeper analytic numbers, they're the lowest that he's had since his rookie year. So with LeBron and his ability to work the game and have the ball in his hands as much as he has with the Lakers to be a playmaker, those numbers are always going to be healthy. But we know that he has ratcheted down what he does defensively in a major way, and offensively, he's simply not doing everything that he used to do. So what we're seeing him is play a very different game now. Still produces numbers, but it's not quite the same dynamic game that we've seen in the past. So there is no question that Father Time has caught up with him. It's just a matter of whether he can recover one more time to go for another ring. But the effects, we're seeing the effects, and we've seen them for a couple of years now.
You know what's interesting? Father Time didn't catch LeBron. LeBron met up with Father Time. Now, let me explain this one to you. When he left and flew in, probably private, to the airport in Los Angeles, LAX, probably signature, you know what I mean? And he got off. You know who was waiting there for him? Hey, what's going on? It was Father Time. Come on, get on off this plane. Look, I'm going to tell you what. We're going to come play for these Lakers. We're going to get at least 1 championship, maybe 2. But look, we got to have a discussion here. So while I'm showing you around looking for some homes and stuff like that. Yes, Father Time was LeBron's realtor, people. He was showing them around. In fact, he said, if you're going to get a home here and you're going to come play for the LA Lakers, I get a room. So Father Time is living with LeBron James. He isn't just a part of LeBron James's life as, oh, did he catch up to him or he's trying to tackle? No, he's not being aggressive with LeBron James. All he's doing is saying that, look, I visit everybody, but it depends on how you want our relationship to be. That's going to be the deciding factor here. So if you treat me good, I'm going to let you get away with what you need to get away with for the amount of time where it's actually debatable if I'm even around you. So that's the thing about LeBron. Prior to coming here, you guys already said it. He was at 94% of playing time. 94%. Ever since he's been with the Lakers, it's in the 70s. I think it's at 76%. He didn't miss games. The only time he ever really had a significant miss was in 2014-15 season. And that was what? He missed 10 games in that season. So now you're looking at where he is now. You're looking at his age, his body, the way his game is, and what it depends on him to be able to have the success as LeBron James on the court. It's his explosive movements. They're saying he's struggling with explosive movements. When you think about high ankle sprains, you know that heavy weight-bearing injuries are the worst type of injuries for an explosive player. They're hard to get through. They're hard to deal with. A growing, a high ankle, any type of toes, Achilles tendons, knees, all of those things are going to be a problem. And these are some of the injuries that LeBron has found himself dealing with. Those are age, body weathering injuries that we're talking about for LeBron James. So, no, he didn't have to get caught up to by Father Time. Father Time was just waiting on him. They just happened to have a good little conversation, good little relationship going on right now, Broussard.
No, with all due respect, gentlemen, y'all don't know Father Time. Father Time isn't that kind, LeVar.
Oh, trust
He's
me,
not that nice. Father Time doesn't negotiate. Father Time doesn't negotiate. You know who's with LeBron?
I know Father Time personally.
Little brother time is with LeBron. Nephew time is with LeBron. All right,
good.
they're the ones that'll negotiate.
Right.
Okay, you're not quite. We're not going to totally take it from you. We're going to, you're going to have trouble getting back from these injuries.
It ain't the biggest
but hold on.
goat.
Tell me the player in any sport who was on pace to win an MVP award and won an NBA championship with Father Time on his back. Who? That was LeBron won the Finals MVP.
Tom Brady won the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't think has Father Time caught Tom Brady?
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers is 38 years old.
No, that's my point, guys. Father Time is not a number. Aaron Rodgers has not been caught by Father Time. Tom Brady has not been caught by Father Time. He will, and both of them will, and so will LeBron. But there is no way. You're not winning MVP. You're not winning the NBA championship as the lead dog when Father Time's on your back. I'm sorry.
Man, well, we have different opinions on that one. We got to at some point define what Father Time catching up to you represents. What's the terminology of that? Because let me tell you something. If you got to jump in a hot tub and a cold tub, if you got to have somebody like knock out all of the legions and the buildup that you have in your legs and stretch you for hours at a time and do all of these crazy different things from acupuncture to all the millions that we hear guys are spending, that's because they're dealing with Father Time. No other reason. I mean, that is really it. Like preventative measures at one point, but once you get to a certain point, you are dealing with Father Time and your joints tell you you're dealing with Father. Believe me, when I stand up from leaving this stage today, I will have to deal with Father Time and tell him, can I please straighten up my back just to be able to walk to the car so people don't think I'm this old, decrepit football player that does TV now. We all have to deal with Father Time. I know Father Time, Chris Broussard. I definitely do. And speaking of
this is the deal that LeBron James has made with Father Time. Because Father Time has said, hey, look, bills due. And LeBron said, well, wait a minute. What if I get Anthony Davis? What if I get a young gun next to me? And what if I replace Rajon Rondo, who's another guy that's facing you and is hanging out with you in the condo? What if I go get a Dennis Schroeder? Can I get a little more time? Can you spare me? And you know what? Here's the thing. What if I play below the free throw line? What if I play the old man game where I'm going to post more often than I'm going to try to take people off the dribble? If you look at the way teams are playing LeBron now, they are recognizing that Father Time is asking for the bill due because they're playing him with all bigs now. Used to be if you put a Brook Lopez or Cody Zeller or one of those dudes on LeBron, he'd take him out at the top of the arc and go by them in a heartbeat. Joel Embiid would go by them in a heartbeat. You don't see that anymore. He's playing below the free throw line. When he dunks and cuts, it's off the ball and he's got a clear driving lane. So I believe and I have seen that LeBron's already been in negotiations with Father Time. And it doesn't mean that he can't win another championship, but he's going to have to negotiate with the Father Time in terms of how he gets that done.
Yeah, he's going to have to figure that one out.
That's the nephew,
coming up.
That's the nephew.
I don't know. I think what's next is the Reaper of Time, but that's here nor there. Coming up from the king to the Greek
man with the sickle.
We'll tell you if Giannis is the MVP right now. Next on Speak for Yourself. Giannis scored 36 points last night to help his Bucks beat the Nets for the second time in the last 3 days. The Bucks are the third seed in the East, and the Greek Freak is currently fourth in MVP odds, according to the Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Rick, Giannis is MVP right now? And that is a question, not a statement.
Yes. In my book,
you said yes?
He is.
Oh.
And yes, I am saying that, yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo is, first of all, he's the reigning MVP.
Ooh.
And if I look at his game and what he's doing, I have yet to see somebody who has exceeded what he is doing now and or dethroned him as the reigning MVP because he's a better player in a multitude of ways. Now, obviously, the number one competition is Nikola Jokic. And let me get a full screen here just so we can compare some numbers. If we're just going to go statistics, let me throw some numbers out there that at the very least, Giannis should be in this conversation. And he's not. And why isn't he? Because he's won it the last 2 years. And the media has been disappointed, maybe even betrayed, that they voted for him the last 2 years. I don't have that problem because he wasn't at the top of my ballot the last 2 years because I've been waiting to see this Giannis Antetokounmpo getting to the free throw line, knocking down mid-range, being unafraid to knock down mid-range, answering Kevin Durant dagger threes with dagger threes of his own. He's done it at both ends of the court, as the statistics showed you. He also does it at both ends of the court at a higher level than Nikola Jokic does. So when I look at this, the only reason that Giannis isn't being favored or isn't being talked about as being neck and neck with Jokic for this award is because he won it the last 2 years. And I'm sorry, but that's not reason. We're supposed to look at this award within this season, not what's happened in the past, not what's potentially going to happen in the future, but what's happening right now. And I look at the game that Giannis Antetokounmpo is playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he is finally delivering as that clutch scorer, playmaker, aside from all his defense and everything else that he does. That's what I wanted to see. I'm seeing it, and I feel like I need to reward him for it.
Great deflector has struck. Come on, great qualifier. Y'all team. Come on now.
Rick Bucher, I know now why they call you Slick Rick on this show.
Rick.
My goodness, how you doctored the numbers. I mean, you didn't put assist on there, did you?
Nope.
Because Nikola Jokic is averaging 8.5 assists a game, which is second all-time to Wilt Chamberlain for centers. All right, Wilt averaged 8.6 1 year, Jokic averaging 8.5. You didn't put three-point field goal percentage on there.
That is correct.
Where Jokic is shooting 41%, Giannis 31%.
Yeah.
You didn't put PER on there, where Jokic is leading the league in PER, and only a handful of guys. Only a handful of guys have had a 31 PER in history. And Jokic is now one of them. So he's got Giannis beat and all those things. So I have a criteria. One of my criteria is individual numbers. So I'll give you that it's a wash in the traditional numbers. Jokic has him slightly in PER 31 to 29. Then I look at win-loss record. Hold up. Then I look at defense is in there, and no doubt Giannis is a better defender. But win-loss record. Denver actually has a better record than Milwaukee. Milwaukee's record is down from last year. Giannis is down in points,
by how many
rebounds,
games?
and PER from last year. And they have a worse record. So Jokic is playing a tougher schedule in the Western Conference, and his team has a better record. Oh, my third criteria, supporting cast. Hold on. Giannis Antetokounmpo has 2 All-Stars in their prime. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday on his team. Nikola Jokic has no All-Stars in his prime. His second best player, Jamal Murray, got hurt. They're 12-5 without Murray, have won 9 of their last 11. Now his second best player is Michael Porter Jr., a 22-year-old youngster who, all he does is shoot, and they're still rolling in the West. Rick, you've watched Denver play recently. Look at who's on the court. Campazzo, or Campazzo, however you say his name, and Michael Porter Jr. and PJ Dozier. I mean, he is winning with a bunch of no names. So for all of those reasons, and he's played every game, Rick, which is important because we got to stop letting. I know Giannis has been hurt, so I'm not jumping on him, but we have to return the relevance to the regular season. And Jokic playing every single game in this age of load management, I like it. It's Nikola Jokic, Rick. And I think I convinced you. I bet you your ballot will have Jokic on it now.
All I'll say, guys.
Not yet, brother,
listen,
not yet.
Listen, friends, listen. You guys made this a two-horse race. The Kentucky Derby just went by. I like how you guys are paying attention to the horses that had the numbers that were picked to win, but you guys failed to mention the horse that's going to win in Joel Embiid. It's interesting you say that Nikola Jokic has a veteran record. They're ranked fourth. They're ranked fourth in their division. Last I checked, that doesn't check off a box to get the MVP award. Number one does. You know what Joel Embiid and his 76ers are? Number one. It's interesting. We talk about Giannis.
The 76ers. The 76ers are.
Yeah, the 76ers. And Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
And Joel Embiid.
Can't get credit for that whole record.
Joel Embiid is third in scoring, which is higher than
Would
Giannis.
you vote? Would you vote an NFL player MVP if he played 9 or 10 games?
I would vote him MVP if the boxes are checked off. This is one of those win addition by subtraction type of years, type of seasons. I'm not going to give a third MVP award in a year where it's a toss-up year to get the MVP award. I'm going to give it to somebody that I feel would be deserving of it because, well, quite frankly, if you think about it, when has it happened? Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. Those are the only ones that ever get 3 MVP awards. I don't see that happening for Giannis on a different scale. So he would have to be that much better. He can't be questionable, not number one in this, not number 1 or 2 or 3 in this, not tops in this. Whatever the categories may be, there are not enough boxes checked off for him. And when I look at Nikola Jokic, I say to myself, do I put him ahead of Joel Embiid, even with missing the stretches of games that he did? I don't find myself doing that with what Joel Embiid's numbers look like and what he's checking off, most notably being number 1 rated in the East. I just don't see it. Anyway, I'm not even giving y'all a response time to this one because you know what? I got it right. Y'all got it wrong. Speaking of the NBA, make sure you enter today's Fox Bet Super 8 NBA contest, Super 6, NBA contest for a chance to win $25,000. I ain't mess up that number, y'all. Download the app and pick the outcome of 6 of today's games for your shot to win. It's completely free, too, to play, so why not do it? All right, coming up, we're heading back to the NFL. That's what we do. We'll tell you, is Mac Jones, is he the man that can challenge Cam Newton for the starting job in New England? Coming up next on Speak for Your...
The Patriots drafted Mac Jones in the first round, but Cam Newton is still on the roster. Our own Bucky Brooks said Cam's presence could pose a problem for the rookie, saying, quote, "It may be a situation where they have to get Cam out of the building so Mac Jones can grow into being the QB1. Joy Taylor is joining us now. So, Joy, will Mac Jones challenge Cam for the starting job?
Not this year, no. The only way I see Max seeing the field this year is if Cam Newton is injured. Cam had a rough year last year, but remember, he did get COVID. He said that affected him coming back. It took him a couple weeks to feel 100%. We know this is a complicated offense. Bill Belichick is not going to rush Mac Jones out there with his 17 college starts. He wants to win right now. And let's not forget, there's a lot of Cam Newton disrespect out there. He is a former league MVP. He is going to be healthy this year. He is going to have an full off-season training with the Patriots in his second year in this system. So I don't think that Mac Jones sees the field this year. Another point that Bucky brought up is that when you put Mac Jones next to Cam Newton, he might have to hit the weight room a little bit, and Cam Newton has quite a big personality. So if Mac Jones comes in there shy and meek, it might take a little more time for him to take over the locker room, which, obviously is part of what he was insinuating with moving Cam Newton out so that Mac Jones can be QB1. I don't think he's going to see the field this year as long as Cam Newton is healthy.
I'll be wanting to agree with you so bad, Joy. I want to side with you. I don't want to disagree, but I'm disagreeing. And listen, Cam's body next to Mac Jones's body and his big personality, man, that man went to Alabama. He's a Crimson Tide, Roll Tide. I'm sure he's seeing Cam Newton types every single day at Alabama and Tuscaloosa. I mean, just look at all these guys that are going pro. So he's not intimidated by that. In fact, two of the guys that were in front of him while he was waiting his turn to play are now starting in the National Football League, and Hurts and Tua. That's interesting. And then another thing that kind of comes to mind when I think about this, and Joy, you touched on it. It's not about Cam being challenged for the job. Cam will win the job and be the starter. I totally get that. But what you said that made way big sense, is Cam is probably not going to make an entire season. He hasn't shown us that he can make an entire season. So if it's even by default of injury of some sort, something that comes up that Cam is unable to play, Cam's going to create an opportunity for Mac Jones to play. It isn't necessarily Mac Jones winning the job or beating him out. It's going to be more about something that Cam does or doesn't do that leads to the opportunity. And one last point about this whole Cam and Mac Jones thing. Did y'all see how hard and how fast Mac Jones walked to the stage when they called his name? He knew that Cam Newton was in Foxborough, but yet and still, that man hit 30 miles per hour walking to that stage with no type of apprehension. That isn't a man that was walking with a little bit of fear of competing against Cam. That was a man that was ready to get drafted and felt as though the right team took me and everybody who didn't was the wrong team. So I don't see it that way, Rick.
LeVar, a man in a hurry doesn't necessarily mean a man is ready.
Oh,
he just was getting there before they changed their mind and said, oh, no, on second thought, we might do something else. So, look, Joy, I, too, want to agree with you. And I'll go to this point. I'll say Mac Jones shouldn't compete for this job. And I have the deliverables on the points that you made. First of all, let's just make a comparison between the two. I do think stature and personality do matter when you're talking about the starting quarterback and whether you can carry a room or not. Here is a side-by-side comparison. Now, which is the guy that's going to own the room?
You're wrong for this, Rick.
I dare say it's the guy
You're wrong
on
for
the
this.
left.
You can't always tell a book by its cover, Rick.
When it comes to physique.
Some of the best books you'll read
so you
look real plain, like the way Mac Jones looks.
These books are covered right now. Is Rick going to show the inside of the book?
Exactly.
I don't want to see the inside of the book.
Exactly.
I don't want to see the inside of the book. Don't do it.
All right, so you don't want to see it. How about we hear about, because the first thing is if Mac Jones is going to compete for the job, then he's got to believe that he can compete for the job, right? This is what Mac Jones had to say about possibly competing for the job after he was drafted by the Patriots.
I mean, I've never played in the NFL or anything, and, I don't know what it's like. So I'm just going to go in there and work really hard like I always have and I always will. And like I said, I mean, Cam earned the respect of the team already, and my job is to support him and Jarrett and help them become better players if I can. I don't, like I said, I've never played in the NFL, but I've seen, good football, and I know that I can help them with anything they need, whether it's taking notes or taking stress off their mind. So I'm just going to be the great teammate that I know I can be.
I'm going to take notes. I'm going to be their therapist. I'm going to go get them coffee if they need it. What?
That's the process.
That doesn't sound to me like a guy who's saying, yeah, you know what, Cam? Jarrett, I'm coming for your job. It doesn't sound like it to me. And the first person that has to believe that he's capable of competing for the job is not Bill Belichick. It's Mac Jones.
Well, I don't want to body shame Mac Jones, but I do think that there is a difference between being Cam Newton and the presence that Cam Newton brings all around, the package of Cam Newton, and Mac Jones with 17 starts at Alabama. We still haven't seen an Alabama quarterback be successful, to your point, LeVar, about the guys that are that were in front of Mac Jones. So there's the jury's still out on those guys, and we already know what the history of Bama quarterbacks in the NFL has been. So I think that Mac Jones went to a great place. I actually think it's perfect for him and for the Patriots because there really is no pressure on him to get out there this year. Again, I only think he sees the field if it's injury, and then we'll find out if he's ready or not. But I like that mindset, Rick, for him to come in and get coffee. He needs to put in the work. I like that mindset. Nobody wants to get coffee anymore. I got coffee for a lot of people.
Kevin Spacey convinced everybody that Kaiser Sose was somebody different than Verbal Kent. Verbal Kent spent the entire movie telling you a story about himself until the end when you realized that Verbal was Kaiser and Kaiser was Verbal. That's what you heard Mac Jones just do. And I think it was brilliant what you did, Mac Jones. And even if you didn't mean it that way, I just did it for you on national television. Coming up, Jimmy Garoppolo. He says more than happy. He's more than happy to help Trey Lance once he gets there. Well, we're going to find out if we're buying that or not next on Speak For Yourself.
Trey Lance could challenge Jimmy Garoppolo for the Niners starting job, but Jimmy G appears to be taking it all in stride. He compared the situation to his early days with Tom Brady in New England and seems open to being a mentor for the rookie. Let's take a listen.
It's hard to come into this league. I know how it was coming from FCS school to the NFL. It's a bit of an adjustment, the speed, whatever you want to call it. It's just different. So whatever I can do to help him, I'll be more than happy.
LeVar, are you buying Jimmy G is more than happy to help Trey Lance?
Well, buying it? Sure, I'm buying it. You know, I don't look at him as being disingenuous on this statement. I just look at Jimmy Garoppolo from everything I've read about him, never met him, don't know him, but everything that I've seen says to me, this is just a cool, down-to-earth type of dude. Like, anybody who's willing to do some of the stuff that Jimmy G has done and has been documented doing, like going out to the restaurant and you're in adult entertainment and y'all on a date, so what? I'm Jimmy Garoppolo. We're cool. Let's go hang. Word. Okay. You think this about me and how I play this, that, and the other, so I shouldn't help Trey Lance. No, I'm going to help Trey Lance. It happened to me. I went into a school or went to a small school too, and then I was behind Tom Brady. He hooked me up. I'm going to hook Trey Lance up. That doesn't mean, I'm just going to give away my job. Let me step to the side and say, hey, Trey, here you go. Let me show you exactly how to do it. Because if we think about it, we have maligned Jimmy Garoppolo. We have said Jimmy Garoppolo isn't the answer. We've done everything to take Jimmy Garoppolo out of the position that he's in, which is the starter. Why would we be sitting here tripping out over him giving advice to a incoming rookie, right? I mean, quite frankly, if that advice that you're giving isn't working for you, how are we looking at it as being super ridiculously great for Trey Lance? So I think that he's genuine in what he's saying, and I don't think that it has any real bearing on what he's going to be as a pro. Speaking of Trey Lance, I think that he's just being a cool dude in the moment saying, hey, I'm going to take the young buck under my wing, Rick.
I had no idea that I was doing a show with the president of the Jimmy G fan club. This is impressive.
I mean, y'all go after Jimmy G so much, I feel compelled to defend him. It just is what it is. It's one of those one times.
Look, I believe that he's genuinely happy to help Trey Lance because he's auditioning for his next job and his future. This is not about if Trey Lance fails, that suddenly the 49ers are going to turn around and go, you know what, Jimmy, we were wrong. You're our guy, and we're moving forward. They've already invested too much in Trey Lance. They've already demonstrated going after Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers that they are ready to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. So he has the opportunity, one, to prove that he's a guy that's all about what is best for the team, and two, taking into account that he's had his injury history, why not be the next Josh McCown? If you're not going to get a starting job someplace, and I'm not saying that he wouldn't with one of the 31 other teams, but if not, then demonstrate that you could be a mentor, that you could be a great backup, and extend your career that way, and look toward, if you want to get into coaching. All of that can be demonstrated by the way he handles this situation for Trey Lance. So it's not just a matter of being an altruistic good guy and doing what's best for the team. By helping Trey Lance for where Garoppolo is in the 49ers universe, he's actually helping himself because he's making himself more valuable to the other 31 teams.
I agree, Rick. I know he better be happy to help Trey Lance. What is Jimmy G known for right now?
Winning.
Being handsome, having
He is handsome.
judgment, depending on how you feel about the situation LeVar brought up. I'm not judging, but some people do.
No reason to judge.
Being talented, but also, most of all, being injured. So unless he's delusional, which I don't think that he is, he knows his time in the Bay is up. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken Trey Lance. There's always a place for a good locker room guy with a little bit of talent in the NFL. So to your point, Rick, this is an audition for Jimmy G to move on to the next place. We know it's coming to an end. No reason to be bitter about it. Be that guy. Bring Trey Lance along. The fan base will love you for it. People will sing your praises throughout the NFL for years to come. No one says a bad word about Alex Smith, and how can you? Look at what he left for the Chiefs. I really feel like he's a part of what the Chiefs have accomplished because of what he did with Patrick Mahomes. It takes a certain kind of person to do that, but it is definitely in Jimmy G's best interest to be this guy. It's in the best interest of Trey Lance for Jimmy G to be this guy. And it's in the best interest of the San Francisco 49ers for this to all work swimmingly. I think it will. Jimmy G doesn't seem like the type of guy that's going to have an ego about it. And quite frankly, he shouldn't. His body has not been great. It's failed many times. It's a reason why Trey Lance is there. And it's not because Jimmy G isn't talented. It's not because he isn't a leader. The locker room loves him. It's because he is always injured.
But I think that that's the whole point. First of all, I'll say this. As we look at what it is that he said in his response, he's just responding. He's not going out of his way. Oh, I'm going to help, Trey Lance, the new draft pick. He was asked a question. And you know why he's asked the question? Because he is a polarizing figure. People are interested in what Jimmy Garoppolo, who he is.
Jimmy G is polarizing?
Yes, I think he is in a lot of different ways. And the thing about it is that, again, we malign the guy, and he's fresh off of being in a Super Bowl not too long ago.
Nobody maligns him. He's just injured a lot.
We malign him. And here's the thing.
Joy,
now, that's
you
the
have to
second
understand,
point.
you're talking to the president of the Jimmy G fan club.
I like
Second-
Jimmy
all
G.
right,
He
but-
was one throw away from winning the Super Bowl. But
He's
the
one
reason
defense away, one defensive stand away from winning a Super Bowl.
he needs to be able to stand to win a Super Bowl. That's why Trey Lance is there.
And that's why I think my second point is a valid point, which is why not be supportive of Trey Lance? Why not be a good dude about the situation? Because ultimately, you are going to come in and you are going to play well enough to be the starting quarterback of this team come the start of the season. You have every opportunity to keep yourself under center or in that pistol shotgun set where you are able to take snaps as the starting quarterback for this 49ers team that was all banged up. Not just Jimmy G, since we want to talk about injuries with Jimmy and me being his fan club leader. This entire team was banged up. All their big guns. Big Debo was out. The Bosa was out. I mean, guys were out. They were injured last year. So they're all coming back. And you know what Jimmy G's thinking? We're all coming back. We're in this together. He has the army. He's Decimus Maximus Meridius in this situation. He controls the power because he controls the army. And that's all that matters. So as long as he does stay healthy, as Joy mentioned, if he doesn't allow for his body to fail him, he will hold off Trey Lance in this inaugural season for Trey Lance, which that in itself is the job interview, Rick. Not saying, oh, yeah, I'm happy to help you, Trey. Let me get you ready to be able to be a National Football League football player. I'm good at that. Like, nah, he's thinking to himself, he's going to hold that job, and he has every bit of the opportunity to do so.
Fan Club Prez, you are misrepresenting the situation here. And actually,
Not
Jimmy
at
G
all.
misrepresented it a little bit as well.
Okay, let's
when
hear
he
this.
made the comparison that this is like me coming in under Tom Brady. No, it's not.
You're not Tom Brady.
Jimmy G, you were not taken
You're not Tom
with the
Brady.
thought that you were going to compete for Tom Brady's job. Maybe to be groomed to be a successor, but certainly not to compete for it. In the last 5 years, teams that have traded up to take a quarterback within the first 3 picks, that quarterback has played at least 7 games as a rookie, if not more. And by the way, the last quarterback from North Dakota State that his team traded up to get, he played started 16 games. So I believe that Garoppolo ultimately could be the starter at the beginning of the year. But there's no question in my mind that Garoppolo knows what the deal is and that he is grooming Trey Lance to play now and not later.
Yeah, I agree, Rick. I hope that Jimmy G isn't as delusional as LeVar is insinuating. You are right, LeVar. They did have a ton of injuries last year. It wasn't just Jimmy G. But you can't plan your organization around a quarterback that is constantly injured. He missed 23 of a possible 48 starts. That is insane. That is Sam Bradford territory. Like, it's gone out of control. There's a reason why they've traded up to get Trey Lance. His time in the Bay is over. It's best to go out on a good note. I don't think that this is his year. I think Trey Lance is going to get out there.
Stick to your guns, Jimmy.
Coming up, there's an NBA battle going on in the Big Apple. We'll tell you if we like James Harden trolling the Knicks. Next on Speak for Yourself.
I'm trolling Joy and Britt. The New Yorker. They released a cover with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden literally looking like giants, with Knicks' R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle chasing them. Well, Harden reposted the cover, but he cropped out the Knicks players. Rick, do you like James Harden trolling these Knicks?
No, I do not like it. I love it. How much better could this possibly get on so many levels? First of all, you have a Brooklyn Net trolling a New York Knick on the New Yorker cover. How sweet is that? And by the way, haven't we just spent about 2 hours low-key trolling each other? Why wouldn't I enjoy that happening? He photoshopped the cover of the New Yorker in order to flex. I love it. I absolutely love it. We need more of it. And this is what makes the competition of the NBA so much fun.
I don't know if you guys know this, but my nickname has been Queen Petty for a very long time. Shannon Sharp gave that to me back in my Undisputed days. So you know I love this. This is extremely petty. He clearly knew what he was doing. So I'm here for all of it. And look, the Nets have more to brag about over the past 10 years than the Knicks certainly do. So I'm here for all of it. I will say, though, you better not let the Knicks get further in the playoffs than the Nets do, or it's going to be tough walking around those New York streets.
I do not like this in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like James Harden doing this anywhere. Green eggs and ham, y'all. Dr. Seuss, check it out. I don't like it. It's bulletin board material. This New York Knicks team is playing well. But here, more importantly than that, bulletin board material can go much further along than just the people that you intended it for. You can actually call beef and create beef with people you didn't even think you was creating it with. Like, man, like, did he just disrespect them dudes like that? Wait, that must mean that he's doing this. And then now you leave it up to interpretation. Like, oh, that's what you're doing, James Harden. You saying it's all about Brooklyn in this playoff deal. It's all about them, nobody else. So now Joel Embiid's looking at it. Now all these other dudes is looking at it. I don't like your green eggs and ham on this one, James Harden. You should have chilled out on this one, Playboy.
Now, that's what's so good about it is, first of all, he didn't create it. He just took it.
He altered it.
There's enough question in terms of, did he just cut the bottom off? Or exactly what's going on here?
Photoshopped that.
It's the
Somebody
low-key,
photoshopped
quiet diss where you go, I'm not going to recognize you, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to show you an image, and you can decide for yourself exactly what I'm doing.
I love it. Listen, they're an old-school team. They are exciting. I love that the Knicks are good. It's great for the NBA. It's great for us. It's very, very petty, but I'm here for all of it. Bulletin board material. The NBA playoffs are going to be amazing. Thanks for having me again, guys. That's it for us. Fox Bet Live is next.